our fact myth series with training youth athletes. So you need showcases in specific camps to gain exposure. Almost always a myth. So on average, youth sports cost parents $2,000 to $6,000 a year. So let's talk about showcases first. These are the things where you get the letter in the mail that says, hey, you're really special, we think you're awesome, come give us money, and we'll pretend your kid's good enough to get recruited at our camp. You got to think, guys, you want to pay $200 for that showcase? You could potentially also be paying $20,000 for an MRI. I understand that that's a very serious stat that I just threw out there, but it's very true. A lot of these showcases, guys, are take your coat off, tie your shoes, go run a 60-yard sprint. There's no stretching. There's no warm-up. It's like their JV baseball team that's actually running the actual showcase. There's not really any scouts there. So are you gaining exposure or are you being exposed? People say, like, oh, I got to get exposure. I got to get my name out there, get my name in front of coaches. Great. However, not only are you exposing yourself to a higher risk of injury by doing that, you're missing out on training day, which is going to, again, expose you to a higher risk of injury. But on top of that, like, if these, say there are some awesome recruits there and you're just a freshman in high school, you're only showing them like 60% of what you're capable of. You haven't trained yet. You haven't had a solid strength, power, speed program. You haven't fully perfected your skills yet. Now you're getting out there in front of a coach and you're showing him 60% of what you got. They could take your name off that list and not come watch you again. So that makes it super tough, but you guys got to think about this. This is a super important one when it comes to club programs and just what youth sports year-round craziness has become. You really, really, really got to make a decision with how much can this, these extra camps, these extra showcases really, really help. That being said, if we're talking about the skills camps, so now, like, I'm talking about sport-specific skills, like a specific hitting camp, a specific pitching camp, things like that. Like middle school Johnny, he could potentially benefit from learning some better mechanics, in a carefully structured and organized, focused program. That being said, most of those programs are like, oh, velo, let's have Johnny do running guns off the, pitching mound as fast as he can and rip his shoulder out of his, out of socket. So be careful with the ones you're signing up for. However, sometimes those skills camps can definitely help if you're a younger athlete. That definitely shouldn't be immediately after their season. That's the thing that drives me crazy about club volleyball is these girls are getting literally thousands of swing and jump counts throughout their high school volleyball season, and then they go immediately into club where they're getting probably double that amount. You got to try to take some time off. Anyway, I digress. Getting back on track. So now if Johnny's in high school and he's had halfway decent coaches thus far in his life, this camp probably isn't going to teach him this new miraculous way to hold a bat. Like, they're not going to do this new, like, crazy technique that he's never heard of before. Like, he just needs to get stronger at that point. So again, like, the origins for this fact myth, guys, where you have to go out there and you have to do all these different skills camps and you have to go out there and do all these different showcases, that's just youth sports trying to take people's money. You got to pay attention. You got to do your homework, ask questions, figure out what you actually need right now, while always keeping injury prevention at the top priority.